Welcome back, Helldivers. After this last major order success, there has been a lot going on. Obviously, the patch that dropped on Tuesday with a little teaser at the end. The Center for Citizen Surveillance and Safety had some upgrades, and that's also being reflected in Discord. So we'll cover all that, plus the new major order and some risks that we have going on with that here in this video. So first, let's start off with this major order win, right? We did collect enough samples and defended the Center for Citizen Surveillance and Safety successfully, but the dissidents are still active on Galaver, Alta 5, and Diluvia, which did lead into the current major order. But looking at what's going on outside of the game, lore-wise, so Discord, if you don't know, is indeed the main method that they're using outside of the game to kind of convey any lore stuff that's going on, and there is quite a bit. Tying into the patch notes, right, it was just a game fixing patch. I didn't see anything major in terms of the file size that was going to be tweaking any additional content or anything like that going into the game. 111 megabyte install, so it does seem like that was indeed just patch fixes and other performance issues and not adding anything to the game. But the previous couple patches were a few gigabytes in size. Like, I want to say it was a total of like 40 or 50 gigabytes, which is quite large, but it does tell me that something was probably added to the game in the last month or so, and it just has not gone live for us yet. Now, at the end of the patch notes, they did say on your calendars, mark a fiery red circle on December 2nd for a buzzing update. It doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily launch or release anything on December 2nd, but we are going to get our next probably teaser or trailer dropping, possibly for warbond or even additional content. So besides December 2nd, another date that's really interesting was the Illuminate were released into the game on December 12th last year after being announced at the BAFTA Game Awards. So it's right around that year mark. Maybe on the 2nd, they're going to give us the remaining forces that were in from Helldivers 1. I think that could tie into at least the buzzing part of it. Everybody was saying bees, which are extinct in the Super Earth lore here. However, buzzing can also be used to kind of talk about mind control or any kind of mind effects that are happening to people all tied together. It's looking like there is going to be some major release, and I really suspect it's going to be Illuminate, just based on how big they made that sector right now, because their footprint is twice the size of the automatons or the terminids. Looking at the map after this recent links that they created in the last few weeks as well, once they started doing all these balance patches that were coming out. Looking at Discord, Baskinator and Mitchimus, some of the community leads, have posted quite a few times a couple of eyes, which is actually the symbol for the Citizen Surveillance and Safety organization, part of the Ministry of Truth. They also have a little bot that's inside of the Discord channel now with that eye. But what's notable about the eyes that were posted by the community team is it looked like there was some lines or Morse code or something in the background, with some tweaking and editing, and the community has found out that there are indeed words in the backgrounds of those eyes, which if you mouse over, it just says that the emoticon is watching. So it is indeed watching us. So what the words say in the background of that eye is, by tilting it a little, you might notice that the Ministry of Truth logo is an eye. This is a subtle reference to the book in 1984, published in 1949 by British author George Orwell. Fun fact, he finished writing it in 1948, and that was the significance for that year, is he just flipped the 48 to make 84. This image conveys that Big Brother, an allegory for the surveillance state and abuse of government powers, is watching you. Super Earth subtly draws inspiration from the book. You might not have noticed because it is very subtle, which is definitely their tongue-in-cheek way of recognizing that, yes, it is a satire, just like Starship Troopers. So it is definitely not subtle out there. The person who posted this emote is acting like they're watching you, but in a playful way, not in a "I'm going to subject you to horrific torture for days until your mind breaks" way. They are referencing the book because they're very smart and read books, or they watch the movie. Now, there's a bunch of different things that you can tie into this. Obviously, yes, Super Earth is playing on the whole 84 theme of Big Brother controls all the information, whether that's history or current events. Any information against the civilians is 100% controlled. They also have a lot of surveillance that goes on, monitoring everybody, which is what we are seeing in the game with the dissidents and the quelling of those rebellions that are, or potential rebellions that are happening right now. Is just generally protests is what it sounds like from all the lore that is in game right now. 84 also has some significance because the Second Galactic War started in 2184. So it does tie kind of loosely into that as well. It is a huge overarching theme, and it is really interesting to see all these things tying together. One thing we haven't seen yet, though, is Major Truth making any postings. He was posting whenever the flesh mobs were released. And so outside of Baskin Mitchimus, there is another name on Discord, Purple, that is saying December 2nd is a lie. Wake up, sheeple. This is really interesting because their tags do say they're part of the support team and an Arrowhead developer. They have also posted that same eye with the text in the background. So this could mean a few other things again tying into everything else, that maybe the next warbond is going to be tied into some kind of surveillance stuff. Maybe we're going to get some kind of UAV. All right, that could also be a buzzing sound, because if you hear any of those small quadcopter type platforms, they have that high-pitched whine, buzzing-ish kind of sound. So maybe we're going to get something else. Because if you throw the seeker grenades, you also hear that kind of whining, buzzing sound. So there's the possibility that it could be linked into something like that, some kind of recon type warbond, which would be really interesting. I like all the support options that are in the game. It's really fun to just play something else besides straight kill things. I would like to see more of that tactical mindset outside of flat killing things. Again, that's why I would like to see more stats added into the end splash screen, like how many heavies you killed, or terminals activated, or missions completed with you inside of a certain radius or something, or if you actually finish the objective by yourself. Whatever it is, there needs to be some more information besides just kills and deaths. There's nothing that you get for flat killing the enemy outside of satisfaction and enjoyment watching the fascists die constantly. So with a week and a half left until that December 2nd potential teaser trailer release date, I'm hoping they do release a couple more things. Maybe not a full ARG like they did before with the Super Earth invasion, which was really fun, but it did suck up like everybody's time over an entire weekend, and the community almost didn't really figure it out. It was really complex, but it was a great game, great puzzle created by the staff there on Arrowhead. Maybe we'll see something like that coming into play. It will be really interesting to see what these next options are going to be. Obviously, the community has a bunch of theories, and Arrowhead is not confirming or denying any of it specifically. Now, looking at the current major order, because of the dissidents that are happening on those 3 planets, and the Seath garrisons have been pulled thin or stretched thin, so it's leaving some opportunities for the adversaries to attack, and they are hitting with some pretty strong invasion rate. Turing has a level 40, which is quite high, and I know it's not supposed to tie into how crazy it is inside of the games themselves, but when I was dropping onto Turing last night, it felt like it was insanity. We were having like 15 heavies coming out of a single bug breach. There was just so many enemies all around the map. No matter what we did, like the patrols were spawning like crazy. Breaches were just spawning like crazy. Hellbomb, like portable hellbomb kills, which I was running around with just for fun, change up the pace of everything. And I was getting 40 to 60 kills almost constantly off of bug breaches. Normally, I'll see about 30-ish if I'm getting lucky and I have the bomb placed right. And other people are also reporting similar, getting 50, 60 kills. And it's not like it was inflated numbers. Looking at the map, like just how many red dots were on there, it was pure insanity. Now, we are seeing 3 or 4 defenses active at once. Before this, I felt like the most that I would see was maybe 2. But the risks that come with having this many defense missions is we're going to get pulled in multiple different directions, right? You'll see a defense on bots, and people that prefer bots are going to gravitate towards that. There's an Illuminate defense active that will pull some people away. The main one we do need to focus on that we definitely need to complete is going to be Turing. Initially, we had a good setup because Turing was a 48-hour defense. Vogue Sojoth was on track to be liberated in like 11 more hours, which would have given us 30 plus hours to finish Turing, which was super easy to do because of the mega cities on that planet. But then we pulled the DSS, we pulled the blob away from Vogue Sojoth, so that's going to barely lose at this point. Hopefully we do get some more divers out there. We can move the DSS back over, but we definitely need to focus on the shorter ones if they're possible, right? If they're low enough resistance rate, I would say around 20 or lower. If it's going to be higher than that, and we probably just need to look at whatever ones have the lowest resistance rate. But also, don't forget the gambit plays. I'll link my previous video on what gambits are down below. But we do need to try to make any gambit plays as possible, especially if we're dealing with Turing, to kind of push the Terminids back on that front. That way we get 2 for 1. And if we're really struggling, there's a good chance Arrowhead's going to start to drop some more notes in the dispatches, so don't forget to read your dispatches when you log in. And we might be able to even get a double gambit if Arrowhead sees that, hey, we're close, we're struggling, and we've already started working on a gambit. They have kind of given us that gimme before, but again, that's not going to be a guarantee. We are doing pretty decently so far. It looks like we have 1 defense already done, 5 days remaining in this. Turing is currently winning, and we are going to liberate, or we're going to defend Turing. But we could have easily made this 3 if we could take Vogue Sojoth, but that's 3 hours left on that as of the time of the recording of this, notionally with 6 hours to 24 minutes for us to actually defend that planet. So unfortunately, I think we are going to lose that one. Now, looking at the rest of the defenses that are going on right now, Terek is just about to be lost, so by the time you're watching this, Terek is already lost. Irreluta over on the Illuminate sector, which does link with Diluvia, that one is going to go down, it seems like, unfortunately. But it does seem interesting that the planet linking to the ones with the dissidents on the Illuminate sector, which again ties into some of my theories with the Illuminate getting beefed up here shortly with this next update. It could be that the Illuminate are mind controlling in that area, causing that dissident activity to happen, which it has been talked about multiple other times. I just can't find any sources at this time, or in any short amount of time at least, that kind of allude to that. But it has happened in the past where the Illuminate have created that dissident activity. We did see that whenever the flesh mobs were released again with that major truce, so it is possible that this is all tying together, and Diluvia is really the real target here, and everything else is kind of chaff and distractors from that. Now, do I think that we're going to finish this major order? I mean, 8 defenses in 7 days is kind of crazy as it is, but what we really need to do is just focus all our forces on 2 planets max. It doesn't even need to be 100%, depending on the invasion level of the planet, but that's really what's going to drive our success or failure on this. What we really need is about a 60-30 split, factoring 10% of people going off and playing whatever planets, biomes, factions they want to play themselves. But there is probably going to be a double gambit opportunity that we need to take advantage of whenever possible. And just for real estate purposes, always need to try to go for those gambit plays, especially if it's coming from Turing, Asher 3. If you're not dropping Turing, we do need to get enough players over on Atcher to start to whittle that planet down. It does have 3 mega cities, so if we get enough people in and start liberating those mega cities, it will become very easy. Now, I am curious to see what everybody else is thinking is going to be happening with this next update. Hopefully, it's a warbond and another massive update, since it has been 3 months since the last one with Into the Unjust. There is a potential, I would say, highly unlikely, but still a potential that it is another major update to the game, being that it is the next quarter, since the previous one in September 6th. This early December kind of lines up with that, plus the Illuminate major update was in December of last year. So all signs point to it's possible, but with all the fixes that they've been putting into the game lately, they did say that the content schedule was pushed back a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully it was QA'd plenty. I have not seen anything additional coming out about the beta testing, I would absolutely love to get my hands on that and be able to get in there. Obviously, operating under any kind of NDA, which I have done in the past. I have done some beta testing for some MMOs previously. It is fun to go in there, highlight all the bug fixes, and submit that to the team and work with teams on getting those bug fixes before it hits live servers so that everybody can have a good time without fighting through either performance issues or glitches that prevent you from completing missions or what have you. But if you like this content, please hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you on the warfront, Helldivers.